conquering your foes with elemental damage, supporting your teammates while having an infinite supply of energy. The Elemental Crystal Mage, Citrine. What's good, folks? It's Nightmare Frame here with a new Warframe video covering an updated build for Citrine. This is a redone version of the One Finger Nuke build. That build had me press the first ability a lot more to trigger the Elemental Rainbow Beam. Although in this build, all I have to do is cast my first ability once and they just die. And it's all because of the synergy with my third ability and companion. Also, take note, I am not killing enemies with any of my weapons. This is a pure ability DPS build. Literally a mage. The Elemental Crystal Mage. I will go from breaking down her kit, important abilities, and how they would scale. So, let's get into it. Citrine's best ability and one of the top abilities in the game is Prismatic Gem. This is the only ability in the game that increases your status chance and status duration all in one. But not only that, whenever you or allies attack enemies within the gem's aura, the gem will follow up with your attacks by sending out rainbow beams that deal the 4 base elemental damage types along with their status effects. So you can slow enemies as they burn, suffocate, and electrocute to death. And the damage is enhanced with strength and damage multipliers. The status chance scales with strength increases, while the status duration scales with your duration modifiers. And of course, the reach with range. And here's the best part, it has no line of sight requirement. So to build for this ability, you need the Holy Trinity: strength, duration, and range. And remember, I said allies can trigger this ability. So anything that is seen or considered an ally, meaning your specters and sentinels, also count. So, what if your sentinel is able to have chain electricity while also having the ability to clone itself to spread that damage even more? An insane uptime on the damage output for this ability. Using Naughty List with the Coordinate Precept, it has the ability to group up enemies, and having Manifold Bond refreshes its own abilities because it's able to spread status effects like crazy thanks to the Tazakor, the Chain Lightning Sentinel Weapon. Oh yeah, total carnage. I initiate the attack by casting my first ability within the Prismatic Gem aura. This ability deals impact and slash damage, as it also bleeds the enemies. The enemies are also tagged with a crystal marker on their heads, and if affected enemies die, they have a chance to drop health and energy orbs. Health orbs have a higher percentage to drop. If you pair the ability effects with the Equilibrium mod, you will have an infinite supply of health and energy. This also synergizes with her passive that heals Citrine and her allies when picking up health orbs. And to enhance the damage that I'm dealing to the enemies with my abilities and Sentinel, I am using Roar. This is a universal damage buff that affects my weapons and abilities, and I also get to share it with allies, which further increases my DPS output. It's overused but insanely strong, as it offers so much for builds like these, especially when it comes to damage over time builds, as Roar functions like a faction damage multiplier. It is able to have my damage over time deal 2 times the damage. And because I need the first 3 abilities, I'm replacing the 4th, as it doesn't do anything for this build. And because I'm replacing the 4th, I can run this mod, Precision Intensify. This increases the strength on the 4th ability by 90%, further boosting the damage buff. Alright, now that you know what's in store for you in this build video, let's go over the shards, gameplay loop, what weapons I use, and how I put all of it together to make it a functioning build. Starting off with the Archon Shards, I'm using 3 red Tau Forge Strength Shards with a 45% strength increase. I don't want any negative duration on this build, so I'm avoiding Transient Fortitude in favor of these 3 shards. And 2 Tau Forge Casting Speed Shards to increase the animation speed, because not letting animations shine is a huge tactical advantage. Now let's take a look at the gameplay loop segment. I'll show you how to initiate your attack with Citrine, especially with this build. And the weapon I have equipped on right now is my Grimoire, and this is only going to be here to increase your strength. Otherwise, you're just going to be using your abilities and of course your companion here, the Naughty List. Before I start, I'll be activating 2 Void Slings for the strength increase because I'm using the Materite Focus School. So 2 Void Slings, and I will get Sling Strength. That 40% strength increase after 2 slings, and also get 50% casting speed. Make sure you have your second ability, which gives you the damage reduction. Roar, third ability, press 1. And look at how everybody's taking damage. Now, my Nautilus is not activating with the grouping because they have Overguard. But look at them. They're just dying because of my Sentinel. My Sentinel is doing most of the work. Look at that. Beautiful. Let me engage these guys. Dead. Why are you running? But of course, you're not going to be getting Xmas units all the time. 8 Xmas, and then the rest of them normal enemy units. I'm going to toss my Grimoire here to give me the strength increase. It already stacked up to 60%. Cast my third. Roar. Press 1. There you go. Look at the damage. Everything is dying. This dude is hiding behind this little pillar. You saw how that health just got shredded. And since you already know what Archon Shards we're using, you won't be surprised when you see base 145% strength with no mods. So starting off with the Arcanes, I do have Molt Augmented here to increase my strength by 60% after 250 kills. Easily done. And then Molt Efficiency. This grants me duration by 36% when I have shields. And again, this also will be easily done thanks to my companion refreshing my shields and making sure I have this buff active before I cast my third ability or Roar, because those are the two things I want to have a major uptime on. For the aura, I'll be running Growing Power. When you proc a status effect, this will grant you 25% extra strength. The Sentinels attacking enemies triggers this arcane because it's not with your abilities but with your weapons and even allies. And for the Exilus, you want your foot maxing mod because again, spending less time on your butt is a huge DPS increase. To increase my range, I'll be running Archon Stretch and Augur Reach. Archon Stretch is easily triggered thanks to her Prismatic Gem because it does electric damage and it's an ability. With these two range increases, it boosts my range on Prismatic Gem to 26 meters. And for additional strength increases, I'll be running Blind Rage for the 99% strength, and there are people who would be worried about this. But we're using Citrine along with her first ability and Equilibrium, and you have so much energy income that you don't even notice the negative efficiency. And of course, Precision Intensify for the 90% strength increase on my fourth ability. This is able to boost my Roar to very high numbers, especially with all the other strength increases. And for the energy management and sustain, I do have Prime Flow, or funny enough, you know what? Let's do Archon Flow. This is a really dumb mod, but you don't need to use this. It's definitely not worth it, but let's do it here for the memes. But to be honest, just run regular flow. And of course, Equilibrium. Health pickups convert to energy and vice versa. Easily done with her first ability and all the crazy amounts of kills that we're getting. And now for our duration increase. And because her third ability is able to trigger Toxin super fast, she is the best frame to run Archon Continuity. Usually, this mod sucks on literally anything except Citrine. Even on Exalted Weapons, modding for Toxin to proc Corrosive, it's a damage loss. However, she deals very fast toxin damage, and this mod synergizes really well with that ability. And having the corrosive procs does reduce enemy armor, so you can deal even more damage to the enemies with your status damage. And because we're dealing heat damage with Prismatic Gem, let's add on to that with Archon Vitality. This gives me health, but the secondary effect doubles my heat damage. Because I have some slight armor strip with Archon Continuity, Roar, buffing my damage over time, Archon Vitality is going to scale really well. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Citrine build that nukes with her third ability and companions. So let's take a look at the companion. It's of course the Naughty List Prime, and the mods are pretty simple. You want to make sure you have Cordon as your first mod. This will group up enemies within a 30-meter radius so you can kill them faster. Assault mode so your Sentinel can actually attack enemies. Guardian to refresh your shields when they break. Duplex Bond so they can clone themselves, and when the Sentinel kills, they have a chance of dropping energy orbs. And this is why I said this is a great way to have infinite energy. Shield Charger to increase my max shields and increase my shield regen. And because we're spreading a lot of status effects and killing them with a lot of status effects, we're easily able to trigger Manifold Bond to reduce my ability cooldowns. Reinforced Bond here is just for some fire rate, but if you do want to replace this, you can replace it with Animal Instinct or anything you want. Even something like Mystic Bond or even spare parts for even more drops. So again, it's up to you. And the Sentinel Weapon is going to be the Core. It is modded for viral radiation and it has innate electricity. So this is adding on to the electricity damage that I have from Prismatic Gem. And because I have viral, it debuffs enemies, so I increase my damage output even further. And with the radiation modded here, confusing the enemies so they attack me less. We have base damage, the 2 elemental mods to make viral, increased fire rate, increased reload speed, so it has a better uptime on its attacks, and the 2 multi-shot mods here. Unfortunately, galvanized mods are very inconsistent with companions, so I did not use them on there. And the utility weapon here is the Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers. It is the Grimoire, modded for Velmin Vacation. Alternate fire increases your strength. And of course with Khara, Canticles, when you use your alternate fire and kill enemies, it drops universal orbs. That means when you pick up these orbs, it grants you both energy and health orbs. Anyway, folks, this is the Elemental Crystal Mage Citrine. And I do hope you've enjoyed and learned something from this video. And if you did, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, a peace. Bye-bye now.